Hello, everyone. Welcome to the session. Manufacturing is transforming, and SMBs are at the heart of this change. Whether you are in the US, India, or anywhere else, the goal is the same: agility, flexibility, and customer focus. Digital transformation isn't just about tools, it's about rethinking how to operate to meet uncertain demand and deliver value faster. Hi, I'm Nikhil Joshi, founder of SNIC Solutions, or how our customers like to call it, SNIC Solutions. And over the past 2 decades, I have worked with small and medium business manufacturers across 12 countries, helping them navigate digital transformation and implement various digital tools in manufacturing. I've seen firsthand how businesses can overcome challenges to reduce time to market, improve agility, and deliver exceptional customer experience. At Snick Solutions, we specialize in enabling SMB manufacturers to become more agile, data driven, and customer centric. And our mission is to empower businesses who are SME manufacturers to thrive in a demand driven world. But today's session isn't about us, it's about everybody joining here. Whether in any way you are associated with manufacturing, whether you work in manufacturing, looking for jobs in manufacturing, if you run a SMB enterprise, if you're a user or a manufacturing professional, we will explore the challenges SMBs face in digital transformation and discuss practical steps to overcome them. So as we go forward, I'd like to see here who's joining us and who's here. All right. So looks like we have a few people coming in. All right. So the first thing that we would like to share with you is there is a desire for small and medium business manufacturers to move away from cost-centric models. And when I say cost-centric models, the reason is very simple. That we, for the last many years, have in manufacturing already been trying to do continuous improvements. We've been trying to drive efficiency improvements. It's not that those activities are not being done. It's just that these activities that are being done today, there is a change that has happened. And the change is that the customer has changed. They would like their demand when they want it, how they want it, and there is an expectation that the SMB manufacturer has to adhere to that. Which means if they called you tomorrow and said, "Hey, can you deliver the part to me in a week?" There's an expectation there that, "Hey, can you somehow make it happen?" Um, People want more variety of products, and this is where more complexity is added to the manufacturing floor, because if you want to be profitable, then the core area is to think about as to how do I do more from the same facility. So one of the first desires of SMBs that we have seen is this fact of moving away from cost centric models. So how can you unlock significant efficiencies, or how can you basically significantly transform the business? And one of the challenges basically that we see in this aspect is that the obvious choice or the tool that is selected for this transformation is digital transformation. But many of the times, if you look at users, we see the aspect of the user is to go more by the digital tools, automate what is in front of them, but not necessarily really think about business outcomes. And this is where we see in many projects where digital tools are adopted, but they are not necessarily connected to the business outcome that is needed basically today. So the pitfall is to avoid is to start avoiding uh, any sort of automation or digitalization projects without linking it to measurable business outcomes. Some of the actions that you could take today is that if you have digitalization projects that are going on right now, just ask internally that, hey, have we connected it to a business outcome? Uh, and a simple way to do is that if the software goes live, sure, my work as a user is going to become easier, but where is the impact in the organization going to be? Is it going to reduce downtime? Is it going to improve delivery speed? Is it going to allow giving a better experience to the customer? And these are some of the things that uh, one can explore and avoid the pitfall that I just spoke about. The other thing that you could do today is use flexible digital tools to address specific pain points. You could pretty much go in for an out of the box software, or you could go ahead and adopt something that is more platform oriented, giving you a little more flexibility. And the third thing that you could do uh, to move beyond cost centric models is to put some sort of a metric or a measurement in place which allows you to track your own progress of transformation. So a simple thing would be is that if the digital transformation happens, then our revenue is going to grow 3x, or is the cost going to significantly come down? And these are things to look forward and keep track using metrics. Let's go into the second challenge. I see a, a comment that is coming here, and the ask there is, uh, what if the maturity is not there enough to connect to a business outcome? And that's a great question. Um, uh, if if the maturity is not there to define really a business outcome, or you don't know where you're going, then the best way to for you to look at those digital tools that you're adopting is to be more in a pilot or an exploratory mode. So my only advice is going to be that don't go and overspend uh, in getting a technology adoption. The value or the money that you spend, if it is significant enough, then there has to be a business outcome. But if there's no business outcome in place, and if you still want to go and do something, then you should try to do it in the cheapest way possible. Um, Another SMB's desire is to adapt to demand uncertainty. And as I started the conversation here, is that responding quickly to shifting demands or last minute changes is becoming more and more relevant. It's becoming the new normal. And one of the biggest pitfalls that we see when this starts to happen is we we experience SME manufacturers deploying tools in isolation, um, and sort of in silos. And uh, let's take a simple example of that. Is that if you're trying to commit dates to your customers when there are rush orders, and if you go and do a Google search, surely you'd say, hey, maybe we're not really scheduling very well, and we probably need to schedule better. But the pitfall to avoid is that scheduling in isolation is probably not going to give you the result unless you connect uh, everything that you have as a digital tool for your order management, uh, something that the salespeople have to commit the dates. They are connected to the scheduling tool in question, and then also your shop floor, right? What Everything does not go 100% correctly on the shop floor. So if things change, can you get that feedback and integrate that into your plans? So if you can see here, to give accurate dates to a customer, as an example, we had couple of things, or multiple digital tools had to be put together in order to achieve that business outcome. And this is where we see that a good amount of money is we end up spending, customers end up spending in deploying tools in isolation. Um, so one actionable advice is to kind of look for platforms which are modular in nature, which allow you to adopt to varying production needs. The other way is to look for softwares that are modern in nature. So, key things to look for from a modernization are, does the software have APIs? And if you don't understand the term API, just it's very easy to look up on Google and learn about what constitutes a modern stack. Uh, from a scalability is another one. Can it handle a lot of data, or is it really just meant for a few machines? Uh, and the third thing is that can it tie in with other softwares? Can it easily integrate? Um, and This is where I think there's two actionable advice. One is educate yourself in the modern day enterprise stacks, as well as look to solve the problem of data silos, where you can bring all the digital tools that you are using to work with each other seamlessly. Let's go to the third challenge that we are seeing SMBs have. And we hear from a lot of users that a lot of data is being collected in SMBs. Um, and The reason is that the management is pushing each and everybody in the organization to take data driven decisions. And but obvious, we live in a data world where data driven decisions are the future and are inevitable. But we also listen a lot from the users that they have a lot of data, but they don't use a lot for decision making. And the aspiration is right, but the biggest pitfall that we have seen is that those data silos that we just spoke about um, are partially the biggest problem in giving data access to multiple users because it's available in silos. So unless somebody has an engineering mindset to go extract it, massage it, transform it in the way the user needs, uh, data is not democratically available to a user who's trying to take the decision. So unifying data into a single platform and creating a data catalog for easy access is something that you can do today. You could start with just having all the users get together and understanding that, hey, how do we organize our data? And then you could look for data management, data integration, data virtualization tools that could empower teams with self-service analytics or real-time decision making. Um, Also, to share insights across departments and decision making, this data has to be democratically available. So, the management as a philosophy would have to ingrain principles to say, hey, that data is going to be available to all. Uh, let's move further to uh, another challenge that we see as we go ahead and work with small and medium business manufacturers is that there's a desire for seamless collaboration across teams and systems. So, with our iPhones and apps that have come where it's easy to message, we're easily able to create WhatsApp groups, if not use Microsoft Teams or Slack. This has led to the users basically saying, hey, how do I bring that same kind of collaboration in my work? And one way to do that is by unifying and integrating the various tools that we have. And this is where you would have the biggest pitfall that we have is that usually an SMB is a combination of some of the legacy tools that are already there. It could be a legacy code in a machine, some old PLCs, some old sensors, or it could be an old ERP and a modern day cloud based system to do CRM. Uh, but at the end of the day, you're going to always have a mix of modern and legacy systems. And the point is that if collaboration has to happen, then the data that is needed by the user in order to make has to be available in their system in some way. And this is where you can use tools that integrate multiple tools. And the other way to do is look at those collaboration points. We've seen companies pretty much do this, sometimes just on Teams or shared drives. And if that is possible, then that is also a good place to start. Creating shared dashboards for a unified view of priorities and progress is another thing that you can do today. So, whether it is at a management level to use objectives and key results or balance scorecards so that everybody is in sync with what's happening, or if you look at dashboards at a functional level, but which in turn link to the management goals, all of that, as long as the priority that the worker is working is the same as the priority that the management is working on, you will definitely see collaboration in place. I see another question that has happened here is that uh, what if uh, the legacy tool is outdated? Yeah, if the legacy tool is outdated, you might want to think of straight up replacing it. We see right now a lot of SMBs going through that, where generally they have lived on one system that would have been very centralized to their use for the last many years. All users have got comfortable using it, they like it. Many of the decision making that they do on a day-to-day basis has kind of been set there. So to run the current operations, they can do that beautifully. But if they're looking for agility and flexibility here, where they need to move to a different business model or to do anything different, it's hard to do in these existing systems. And this is the time to look for newer tools. The one thing that we would say is that it may not be a bad idea to still maintain or retain the user experience in terms of how the users are used to seeing things and taking decisions for some period of time, until they themselves can innovate in saying that, hey, I think this could be better. And this is where a lot of management teams make a mistake, where in adopting a new tool, uh, you would want to many times just try and improve what was wrong with the old software. And that's not a bad thing to do, but as long as it is not hurting the user experience, it's okay to do that. And there's a balance that needs to be done there to make sure that there's adoption. Otherwise, the big challenge that we see today is in adoption. And there's enough data out there of digital transformation or digital tools failing, uh, to be used, or management saying that we don't get value for money that we thought we would get. There's a lot of buyer regret out there. But at the core, adoption basically is the reason why people feel and get that kind of an experience. Um, the last thing that I would want to cover today as a challenge, where we could share some actionable advice from our experience, is the SMB's desire to build resilience or sustainability through prediction and prevention. Uh, on one side, there is demand uncertainty that is happening. And because there is so much volatility in that, the sense every SMB business is having is that, how do I build flexible and agile systems that are sustainable, that I could scale them if the demand goes up, or I could scale them down if the demand basically goes. But it essentially gives an opportunity to keep innovating and keep bringing new things. And a good example of that is that if you're a manufacturer where you have an existing revenue stream of 10 to 15 million dollars, and if you're saying that that same existing revenue stream without innovation is just going to become 3x, 5x, 10x. That may be true if there is unserved demand or untapped demand in the market. But if that's not the case, what you're looking to go from 10 to 15 million dollars in revenue to 3x, 4x in revenue is not by increasing the revenue in that same category, but innovating basically with new products that would essentially diversify your revenue streams. Now, in order to do this, you would need to invest in R&D, you would need to invest, and that money is basically achieved whenever you're doing these kind of projects, these kind of transformation, it allows the agility and flexibility allows you to keep trying those things and keep innovating. So in a desire to build resilience through prediction and prevention, we definitely see that we still see the reactive approach mindset, even though we are on a journey for transformation. So if we talk about quality, quality management, maintenance, when it comes to downtime, although we have seen many continuous improvement practices that are in place, from a technology standpoint, if your technology is very reactive in nature, which is giving you most of it is like post-mortem. So if you think of OEE, you are getting to know all the downtimes that were the causes of you having low efficiency, but after it is already done, then there's a challenge from a sustainability standpoint. And this is where our advice would be to look at combining, let's say, if you're implementing IoT devices and tools, then can you use the data that you're collecting to become more predictive in nature, apply models, whether it's machine learning, AI, or anything, to say, okay, what can potentially go wrong so that you can move the needle from being a more reactive based function to a more predictive and a proactive. And that is what brings more sustainability, because ultimately you're saving those dollars before those failures actually occur. Uh, and this is where basically real time becomes inevitable. When everybody talks about needing real time data, this is what is that if you want to be reactive and proactive, then real time data is key or the foundation to making that happen. Um, and SMB manufacturers have been going and analyzing root causes for recurring issues, but most of the time the fixes that have been put are, trying to handle the issues rather than mistake proofing the issues. And this, I think there's a lot of maturity when it comes to mistake proofing something with automation online on a machine, etc. But the same mindset should be applied even with software or digital tools, where how do you mistake proof things while you're designing the software or while you're adopting the platform, which allows you to arrest the root causes from occurring again and again. On this, I'd see another question that has uh, uh, come in here is it's very hard to change the users and their mindset, and uh, what to do about that. Well, the prerequisite, it's take this with a pinch of salt, if I get the idiom right, is uh, that culture or a mindset for doing a transformation is a prerequisite for any technology adoption. We do see that in our daily lives, right? Like, I can give an example of my parents, where when YouTube came, it was a struggle for them to kind of move around, with the iPhone, etc. But once they got it, so initially there was a resistance, but ultimately, at one point in time, they created a mind and a culture that, okay, I got to use it. And when that flip happened, it didn't take a lot of time for them to get up to speed. And we, as humans and users, are naturally resistant to change. And unless there's a mindset and a common consensus and a mindset that this needs to happen, it's going to be difficult to have any of those maturity improvements that are. So I hope I'm answering that question, and thank you for the question. Well, that's what we had for today. Uh, I really appreciate everybody joining here and listening to some of our thoughts from our experience in doing software implementation that accelerate digital transformation and smart manufacturing adoption in manufacturing. If you'd like to explore how these concepts apply to your business or have questions about getting started, feel free to connect with me. I'd love to share insights and hear your thoughts. Thank you for joining and thank you for listening in.